Subscribe now. EU debates.
Okay, thank you, and also welcome on my behalf. These have been very intense days, and I think that we all the members of the delegation, or I should say all the members of the delegation who have been participating throughout the 3 days, because our colleague from the ECR group has participated in 1 or 2 meetings, and we haven't seen him anymore since. But I think I would speak on behalf of all of us who've been there, that we come away from this visit very, very worried. As my colleague said, this committee is in charge of investigating the illegitimate use of spyware throughout Europe, not just Pegasus, but also other brands. We note that spyware is being used by pretty much all governments or in all member states. But most member states would indeed use it in a very exceptional, targeted manner, embedded in a system of safeguards, oversight, scrutiny, and what have you. But in some member states, like in Poland, there is clearly a case of spyware not being used for the security of citizens, but actually against citizens. And spyware, I would dare say, has become a tool for a authoritarian political agenda by the government parties, whereby all safeguards have been either eliminated or they have been massacred to such an extent that they have become completely meaningless. And what I find very worrying, like my colleague, is the total absence of the government bodies and government parties throughout these days. Because there may be political differences, but we can never differ on the basics of democracy and the rule of law. Because if we don't have the same, if we're not playing by the same rules, then effectively democracy is dead. Now, I will present my report early November, and of course it will cover the entire European Union, but I can assure you there will be a very solid chapter on the situation in Poland. I think, last remark on Poland and then the European dimension. I'm very sad to say that after 3 days here, my expectations of remedies to be implemented by the current government are close to zero, if not zero, but because there's clearly no political will. The fact that the system here is working against citizens is not by accident, it's by design, and I find that extremely worrying. I think that we will be making proposals for European standards for the use of spyware, and that means that spyware can be used in a very limited number of very exceptional cases, duly justified by or scrutinized by judges, monitored with all the necessary transparency, rights for victims, and what have you. I think it's not so difficult to come up with a set of proposals, but then it's not enough to have legislation and standards, they also have to be applied. And here I would like to also make an appeal to the European Commission. Because yes, it is true that national security is the exclusive domain of the member states. But it seems to me that, and it was also alluded to by my colleague, that national security has become, you know, is the door to an area of lawlessness, whereby member state governments say, from this point onwards, there is no scrutiny, no transparency, the rules don't apply anymore, and the European Union has nothing to say. That is unacceptable. We all live in the European Union. We all have to respect the same values, and all European citizens are entitled to the same protection of their rights. So I would urge the European Commission to let go of its, none of my business, see no evil, hear no evil attitude, and really enforce European laws. We've been talking about e-privacy, GDPR, Charter of Fundamental Rights, and what have you. Same applies to Europol. I would like to reiterate my call for Europol to, if it's not invited by the governments to participate in investigations, to propose at its own initiative to be associated to investigations, because at least the presence of Europol would secure evidence, would secure a proper conduct of investigations. It would give a minimum level of protection. And finally, my last remark, let's not forget that Pegasus, in this case, there are also other brands, but Pegasus has been manufactured and sold by a company called NSO Group. A marketing license and an export license has been granted by the government of Israel. And they refuse to basically cooperate and give us any information. Why is it that we cannot say with certainty whether Poland was struck off the list of countries that export licenses can be granted for? Why can we not say with certainty that Poland was one of the two countries of which the contract have been terminated? Why is it that NSO is allowed to operate in the European Union, conduct its finances through Luxembourg, sell its products to now 12 member states, products that have been used to violate the rights of European citizens and to attack democracy of the European Union, and yet NSO is not obliged to give us any information? Israel is a friendly country. They're an ally. I would expect the government to cooperate with us in the protection of our citizens. So I would urge them to give that information immediately. Thank you.